Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. We're going to talk about one big common fault players tend to do when they try to shallow out the swing and come from the inside, okay? So in this common fault, when people try to shallow the club, you can see this is me shallowing the shaft, okay? The club shaft angle is getting flatter in the downswing, which is something a lot of us want. But what a lot of players who struggle with making this work, what they do is, instead of shallowing the club by either letting the club fall behind us or either down hinging and releasing it, you can see both things shallow the club out. While we do that, you can see I'm keeping my inclination to the ground. My left shoulder is lower than my right at the top of the backswing, which it should be, and to maintain that as I shallow it out. What most players tend to do, which is a big common fault, is instead of letting that happen through the rotation of their forearms or their wrists or by down hinging, they tend to just maintain their wrist structure. They tend to hold their wrist angles because they've been taught to hold the lag, hold the lag. They might even increase their wrist angles, which steepens the club, but they get that shallowing look because they start tilting back. You see, if I tilt backwards like this, you see the shaft gets very shallow looking as well, but that's not how we want to do it. When I do that, my left shoulder comes way up, my right shoulder comes way down. All this is going to promote is the very wacky inside-out club path. Low point control is going to be out of whack. I'm going to hit the ground first. If I don't, I may hit up on it too much, and then the face rotation will be the most, okay? The more I tilt backwards, the least rotated I'm going to be able to be in the back with my body rotation. I'm going to have to flip and roll my arms through it, which is not a recipe for a predictable ball flight or a predictable tight curvature. So what we want to do to shallow instead is, and I've mentioned in previous videos, is you may want to feel like from the top of your backswing, you're either looping this entire unit back, your arm, hands, and club, you're looping it back as you maintain inclination. You can see my left shoulder stays down, or you can let this club fall behind you. You can see my forearms are rotating more in transition, or I can let that go into the down hinge. You can see all that shallows the club out as I maintain my inclination, keeping my left shoulder low. What we never want to do is to start doing this, okay? If you do that, you're gonna run into a lot of trouble. You're gonna run into stalls, early extension. You're gonna hit the ground first. Face might be way open or it may be way shut. It just brings in a lot of things that we don't want in the golf swing, okay? Now, maybe in rare situations, that's the only way for you to shallow it. Sure, we're gonna work with it. But for most amateur players, we want to try to keep that left shoulder, that lead shoulder lower, maintain our inclination to the ground in the downswing as we shallow, and that's going to allow us to rotate through the ball, which will help us deliver a more stable club face into the ball while being able to shallow this club out. That's what we want to do. So if you're someone trying to work on shallowing the club out, never, ever, ever try to do this as the first option, which is you make your backswing and then you're going to tilt back and shallow it. We don't want that to happen, okay? We want you to instead, from your backswing, assuming you have a decent backswing, either loop it back. So I'm going to do that option first. I'm going to loop it back as I keep my lead shoulder down and around, or you can try to let the club head fall behind you, shallow and down hinge while maintaining your inclination. You can see that also allows me to shallow while keeping my lead shoulder down. Okay, but I never want you to try to tilt back, okay? Even that was a little tilty because for me, I find it's most successful for me to just loop things back. That allows me to have the easiest time to maintain my inclination. So I'll do it one more time. All I'm gonna do is from the top of my backswing, I'm gonna loop my arm, hands, club back as I keep my lead shoulder down and around. Okay, that for me works best. So I'm gonna try it. I've been able to exaggerate a little bit. I chunked it a little bit, but because I exaggerated it, I was able to hit down on it again and not be as inside out. So hope that makes sense. You know, I really want you guys to make sure when you guys loop it, you keep your left lead shoulder down and around. To shallow, you gotta shallow while keeping inclination. I never want you to start tilting, okay? So hope that makes sense. Any questions, let me know. Don't tilt unless you truly have to. and we'll see what happens. So any questions, let me know, and I'll answer them as fast as I can. Thanks for watching, everybody.